I'm finding it challenging for myself. That pivoting, it's a lot of pivoting. Like I pivoted a lot when I came out. You know what I mean? I thought I was done, girl. But then, but now
it's like you're constantly on a runway. It's like pivot, turn, pivot, turn,
exactly.
pivot, turn.
I love Beyonce and she can run the catwalk, but I cannot do that much.
I ain't no Tyra Banks, honey. I'm not pivoting no more. Hi, my name is Chris Bolton. I am the co-founder of the North Shore Pride Alliance, and I'm also a performer, a big fat drag queen named Connie Smudge. And I've grown up in North Van. I went to Ridgeway and graduated from Sutherland, and I live in Lolo, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm Leon Nichols. I just recently moved to North Van about 2 years ago. I'm a big advocate for Starbucks and the Pride Alliance within Starbucks, and just recently joined with Gary for the North Van Pride Alliance.
Hi, my name's Gary Woods, and I am a co-founder along with Chris for the North Shore Pride Alliance. And I've lived on the North Shore in Lower Lonsdale since 97. Yeah, 1997. So that's going way back. So let's start off with, is there a moment when it became really real for you for the pandemic, for COVID-19?
You know what was really weird for me was that I'm really old, I'm 51, and I remember the AIDS crisis. And I don't know if it was PTSD from that, because it seemed like I was going to a funeral every week, 88, 89, 90, 91. And it brought all this, because what happened in the gay community back then, let me just like backtrack, is that it was so scary that we all sort of locked ourselves away, and we weren't, cohorting and, sort of going to bars and stuff like that, because we didn't know how it was passed. We didn't know if we could get it from kissing or we didn't know anything. And then it seemed like once we had the information, that our community sort of gathered together, and, again, information is power. But it was so bizarre, like sort of, you're right, sort of mid to late March, I was having sort of almost anxiety attacks, because I think it was PTSD from like living through that horror that was the early 90s, right? So it's just a little nuance that I didn't really expect with something like this,
Yeah, that's true, because it was the same kind of fear and the same kind of
lack of information,
anxiety, you know what I mean? And the fact that we didn't really have any information. It was like, is this a replay, of what's happening? And it's scary. I mean, it still is scary, definitely. But then at that time, not knowing either, my anxiety level was really, really driven up high in comparison to when the when the HIV epidemic and the AIDS epidemic happened.
Yeah, it made me think we're going through a very key point in a history chapter that will be read in school books in years to come. I think this is a really important time to document these stories and these trying times. And, I was just sitting on the bus the other day, and I was looking at all the people wearing their face masks and their gloves, and it felt really surreal. It was like, wow, I'm really living through this right now.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge for you guys faced during the COVID-19 outbreak?
Loneliness and, feeling isolated and not having that group of friends or that community or, that special place that you could go to and kind of decompress and, feel safe and at home with these people.
Yeah, like I hadn't seen my boyfriend for over a month because he's a nurse. And there was an outbreak at his hospital, so we were not seeing each other. And even though he was part of my, bubble, so to speak, but without like FaceTime or, the Facebook video chats, it would have been much more difficult. And if I didn't have that, I think I would have gone a little bit more crazier than what I am.
Yeah, and hugs too. That's a big thing that I thrive off. I love hugs, so all this, and it still goes into how has COVID challenged you, is because you're now having to depart from these things that you're so familiar with and completely relearn how to socialize, which is 100% crazy.
Like our community is full of hugs. Like that's, we embrace each other that way. And
at this point now, I don't want to shake anybody's hands.
No.
It's not. COVID has brought a whole new.
Even with the glove, darling. Even with the glove on.
Right? Yeah, 10-inch pole, I'll shake your hand.
speaking as a performer, I miss the love and the touch and the, you know what I mean? It's like the tactileness of life is completely not happening. Like, this is the closest I've sat next to someone in 2 weeks.
As someone who's an avid lover of drag and who just loves going to drag shows, I find that another important thing to, you know, feeling lonely during these times is you look back on those great times when you may have been so happy watching your favorite drag queen perform at your favorite venue. And you think about those times of when it felt so wholesome to be so close to these people. And it's just this aroma and feeling that you get in the air of like, this is home. And after COVID, you know, it totally died down, and you feel like you lose this closeness that you had to strangers. It's those little pieces of wholesome moments that I think also mean the world to certain people. I know it does to me, and I think that's what I also miss the most, you know, that connection that you can have just in a crowd or a setting of people.
Yeah, energy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, sense of community too.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
You know, and being with you know, part of who we are, and letting our true selves, you know, be authentic, right, within our community and with others is too. And with everything that happened with the BLM movement and Black Lives Matter, and you know, the activism that occurred at the beginning of the year, how has that changed for us in sense of, you know, because you were saying like right before Pride, we usually, you know, we're out in the community, we go and we gather and we talk to individuals, and, you know, we are the North Shore Pride Alliance, and Alliance is a gathering of community of all types, not just LGBTQ, but our allies and stuff. And we would go out and we would have, you know, this Pride at the pier and meet people in the community and have them join us. But like you said, we weren't able to really do that. And that's a form of our activism that's really kind of changed, you know?
Staying active within a community to pull everyone together when you can't even be together, it just makes it way more difficult.
It is bringing us to places that I don't think we would have got to before, though. No. So on the positive side of it, like, I can't remember if it was Brene Brown, or there's an Oprah-esque expression that says, we're not breaking down, we're breaking open. Spending the time, like, I've been writing letters to people, and they're like, what's this thing I just got in through my door? Do you know what I mean? Or I send a card to somebody that I usually hug. So that's pushed me out of my usual box. But in actual fact, that card that they keep on their desk that they've had there for a month gives them a hug every day for me.
I've learned a lot in lockdown that sometimes it's okay to ask for help, and to have those people and that community and your allies, that it's okay to say, hey, look, I'm not doing good, need some help here. Like,
has there been kindness, not just from those individuals, but kindness from strangers as well, that you didn't really expect?
Yeah, I had a girl came and saw she's like a really big fan, I guess you could say. And at the very beginning of COVID, I lost $35,000 in bookings for the year, because it was, you know, and then I also had to send back half of the deposit, like all the deposits too. So it was like very scary for a little drag queen like me. Yeah. And all of a sudden I got this message from this chick that comes and watches my shows. And she said, I know it's a tough time for you, and and she sent me like $500 just out of the blue. But that kind of kindness, it makes me tear up just thinking about it, because it was perfect timing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that COVID did bring out some more patience and kindness within people. Definitely coming from a customer service and the retail side of it, is that your perspective changes on people, because you don't know what's going on and how they're dealing with COVID, and they don't know how you're dealing with COVID, and they are working through COVID and you're working through COVID. So it's all like these little factors that all add up, that I think people are starting to be like, okay, I'm going to be kind today and spread that love.
But that's the kind of sort of gift that you can do that I think the universe appreciates more, when there's no intent, when there's no expectation of repayment. I think that's when we really create magic.
Yeah, I can see that. And I felt that actually a lot during trying to organize Pride this year, you know, for the North Shore. like putting together the art show that we had for the art walk, and it was socially, like physically distanced because all the paintings were pointed outwards, right? And so people could just walk around the building, and it was something that we did for the community. When we were putting it together, and it's like, where is the money coming from? Like, we're just like, and you and I were talking, we're like, we don't know, but let's continue on and let's see what happens. And then to have, you know, a couple of individuals that came up to us and said, here's the $1,000, put this towards your show. It was all these small little pieces of acts of kindness financially that came through that helped us continue to build and be able to put on and provide pride this year. I think the message is that persevere, right? Stay resilient, have faith in one another, continue to believe that every day is going to get better, right?
Take time for yourself. If you're having a really rough or challenging day, be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself, because, you know, again, through understanding and kindness and love, we're all going to get through this, and we're going to actually be better on the other side. So that's the hope and trust that I have.
And I think we all know it, and especially in our, you know, the LGBTQ community, love wins.
Yeah.
We've known it. We've known that for years and centuries and decades and days, that love will always overcome fear and love will always win in the end.
I felt like doing something really sassy at the end, like saying, it takes a lifetime to become the best that we can be. We have not the time or the right to judge each other. There's one life, and there's no return and no deposit. One life! So make sure you like what's in your glass.
Love it.
Be well, everybody, and be safe and happy, and love the people you love, and forget about the people that aren't really in your circle or your bubble, and just eat. And eat that sourdough.
You know, if anybody's watching this at home, hi. But, you know, feel free to get in touch with us at the North Shore Pride Alliance, and that's through any of our social media accounts, through Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Yeah, if you want to hire a drag queen, I'm available too.
He is. She is fantastic, darling.